Step right up. The show is about to begin. Today you will see and hear the bizarre tale of Circus Freaks. 5 amazing people who endured, overcame, and experienced an unimaginable life to some. Others may see a mirror of their own suffering and triumph over adversity. Who could know other than you? If you clicked on this video, you should know I'm not dishing out cotton candy. But in the heart of it, this is a story about humans overcoming. What about the people behind the medical conditions? How did they live? What were their victories? What happens after the forced spotlight fades? Starting with the number 5 entry, we give you 2 people for 1 entry. Meet Cheng and Eng. These 2 men were born in 1811 in the Kingdom of Siam, modern-day Thailand. As conjoined twins, they were both joined at the sternum, that long, flat bone in the middle of your chest that connects both sides of your rib cage. Remarkably, Cheng and Eng didn't share major organs, other than a slightly fused liver. One day, the 2 brothers were out for a swim in their home country when they happened to be spotted by a Scottish fisherman. Within short order, the boys' parents sold them to the fisherman for about $500. In no time, their owner toured them as a sideshow attraction. The 2 brothers shared the dubious distinction of being the original Siamese twins due to their birthplace. Despite their condition, both men went on to lead full lives. They eventually moved to North Carolina, married 2 sisters, non-conjoined, and had a whopping total of 21 children. We're pretty sure that created some interesting family situations. They each managed to live to the age of 63, and on the morning of January 14, 1874, Cheng passed away due to a stroke, while his brother died hours later. Doctors convinced their wives to allow autopsies confirming the death of Cheng due to a stroke, and Eng was listed as dying from fright. The most likely explanation is that the loss of blood circulation from the perished twin led to his death. Now, things may get a little hairy when talking about the 4th entry on this list. Fedor Jeftichuk, better known as JoJo the DogFaced Boy, was one of his era's more well-known circus sideshow performers, long before the notoriety to come. He was born in St. Petersburg, Russia in 1868. Like his father, Fedor was born with hereditary hypotrichosis, which is a condition that causes excessive hair to grow over a person's body. Some have called this condition werewolf syndrome for obvious reasons. Due to this condition, Fedor was in the public eye alongside his father from an early age as he worked various sideshows in Europe in the 1870s. The circus created a backstory that hunters tracked them to their cave and brought them to perform. They said he was wild and could never be civilized. Fedor was likened to a dog and forced to bark and growl on stage. But in reality, Fedor was said to be very intelligent and spoke several languages. Soon, he caught the attention of the world-famous promoter P.T. Barnum. As a 16-year-old, he began touring around the world as JoJo the Dog-Faced Boy. In 1914, he tragically passed away from pneumonia at just 35 years old while he was on tour in Greece. For our next entry on this list, let us introduce you to Ellen Harper, aka the Camel Girl. Born in 1870 in Henderson, Tennessee, it's no surprise she gained attention from the day that she was born. Ella's distinct appearance and nickname come from her being born with the extremely rare medical condition known as congenital genu recurvatum, which caused her knees to bend backwards. Despite her condition, Ella was actually able to walk on 2 legs. However, she preferred to walk on all 4s, which prompted her famous nickname. Her stage career began when she was just 12 years old. Ella initially worked for circuses in New Orleans and St. Louis, but bigger things were in store before too long. 4 years into her career, she gained the attention of a promoter and circus owner, W.H. Harris. During her time with the Nickel Plate Circus, she was reportedly paid $200 a week, about $3,369 today. During her performance as the Camel Girl, she could walk on stage on all 4s, accompanied by an actual camel, billed as a cross between a camel and a human. In her later life, she retired from show business and married a school teacher. Ella passed away quietly at the age of 51. Coming in at number 2, we have Myrtle Corbin, born with a condition known as dipagus, which meant she had two pelvis, or pelvises, or pelvi. Who knows? I digress. They were side by side. Each pelvis contained two legs, an average-sized leg and a shorter-sized leg. Interestingly, like our previous entry, she was also born in Tennessee. Winky-dink? While Myrtle walked on her two longer legs, she could move her smaller ones. However, they weren't able to support her weight. Along with her four legs, Myrtle was born with two sets of internal and outer reproductive organs. She first began appearing in so-called freak shows in 1881, when she was 13 at the hands of her father. It should come as no surprise that she eventually worked for P.T. Barnum's touring circus. She was so popular with the crowds that other shows used people with fake legs to bill as their own four-legged girl. Despite her condition, Myrtle found love at the age of 19 and then married. By the time she was in her 20s, she had enough money to retire. She gave birth to 5 children. It's said that she had 3 from one side of her body and 2 from the other. She lived until the age of 59 when her family buried her in a concrete-sealed casket to prevent grave robbers from stealing her remains. The last entry on our list might just be the most famous. His life story has been told in movies, and he even got a mention in a song, If I Had $1 Million, by the famous Canadian band Bare Naked Ladies. If you haven't already guessed, we're talking about Joseph Merrick, better known as the Elephant Man. Joseph's distinct physical appearance was the result of a series of genetic abnormalities that caused his skin and bones to be covered with many growths and tumors. We now name his condition as Proteus syndrome. Joseph, sometimes called John, was born in England in 1862. Unlike the other people we've spoken about, Joseph's medical condition wasn't obvious at birth. Instead, it started appearing when he was about 5. As he got older, Joseph couldn't find a job due to his condition. Out of desperation, he contacted a promoter on his own accord to join a sideshow to earn a living. Joseph later stated that he didn't mind his time as a sideshow performer. That was until a tour manager stole all of Joseph's savings. He eventually made his way back to London and spent the remainder of his life in the London hospital, before eventually dying in his sleep in 1890. It's thought that he died of asphyxia when the weight of his skull dislocated his neck. His skeletal remains are on display at a private room at Queen Mary University of London's medical school. As we've seen, people born facing tremendous obstacles can lead full lives. These wondrous individuals born at the turn of the century suffered from medical conditions that made them appear non-human to some. Thankfully, society and the medical profession have come a long way. People born with such ailments can receive better support, care, and treatment. Meanwhile, so-called freak shows are a reminder of a time in which many casually exploited those that were born differently. They were seen as non-humans and shamelessly displayed in the name of profit. We're willing to bet that despite that, these 6 people wrote 5 amazing life stories that were more successful than many peers who were considered normal. Tell us if you know of someone that's fought similar battles into triumph. See you next time.